Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cold Hard Truth NFL podcast. I'm your host, Anish Gupta.
And I'm your co-host, Srikar Ajendran.
We're back bringing you guys another weekly recap, and obviously, we're going to be predicting some games. How was your NFL weekend, Shreek?
Um, very, very mixed, but I think saw an impressive win from the Niners. Obviously, the whole thing with Jimmy, we'll talk about it in a bit. Undefeated week of picks, which first time that's ever
Clap it
been
up.
done in CHT history. I mean, we can set aside Giants Commanders,
Well,
but
but
I
yeah,
mean,
the tie we'll give
but
it. Yeah,
technically it
I'm
works
actually
out. It works out better than the Commanders, but we'll get into it in a bit.
I'm so mad. Stupid Graham Gano, you got to hit that kick.
That
I
was
was
not the
looking at, it, I was
problem.
like, I was looking at it and I was like, yo, because I was undefeated going up until that game, and I was like, wait, could I hit this? And I just realized we had the same morning picks. So I looked and I was like, okay, I just need these two to hit in the afternoon. I'm chilling, right? Of course, Miami loses to Brock Purdy, and
Hey, McDaniel over Kyle. Are we still pushing that or?
I'm just gonna push different agendas till I'm
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, and then obviously Mahomes apparently cannot beat Joe Burrow. All right, well, you know what? Mahomes can't beat Joe Burrow, but you know what you can beat? You can beat those itches and those annoyances with your hair
It's
down
a good one.
there with Manscaped. Good transition.
It's a good
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Manscaped is our official sponsor. It has been with us for quite some time and we love them. They've got some amazing products out there, highlighted by the Lawnmower 4.0, the best in men's grooming and hair trimmer. It's got an amazing, long-lasting battery, wireless charging, a really cool ceramic blade. You'll avoid all these stupid nicks and cuts that you can get. And there's other amazing products. There's a t-shirt, there's boxers, there's a nose, ear, and weed whacker trimmer. There's a crop preserver ball deodorant. I mean, they've got it. They've got everything out there. And you know what? You can use code CHT20 for 20% off and free shipping at Manscaped. Shriek, what was the code again?
CHT20.
CHT20. Unlock your tools and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Go grab yourself that Lawnmower 4.0. You guys have already heard this. Let's just get right into it. All right, so let's start off with some news that came out today, and you know we were going to talk about it. You know that since I'm on the show, we are going to talk about it. Baker Mayfield is a Los Angeles Ram, and two guys that I so very dearly love, Baker Mayfield and Sean McVay, are very weirdly coming together this season, something that nobody in a million years would have thought 2 years ago. Like, seriously, if you had told me this on December 6th of 2020, I would have slapped you across the face and laughed. But here we are. Yeah, it's weird. I'll let you start off because I'm probably going to ramble a little bit too much, so I'll let you get it out of the way. What were your thoughts?
I don't have much thoughts. I mean, if you wanted to hear it from the Niners side of things, I was kind of
No one
indifferent.
wants to hear from the Niners side of
I
things.
was
We want
indifferent.
to hear from the Rams side.
I'm still indifferent. Like I just don't care for this move. Like I don't think it moves the needle in any way. I don't think Baker's gonna see this a sudden resurgence. All of a sudden, he's gonna become like I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm not too hot about everything. Like I'm not gonna go off the wire here. But I mean, I guess it's a good move for the Rams because you don't have to go with Perkins or Wolford. But yeah, it's a worthwhile shot. But then again, I don't I'm not too hot about it. I don't really it's a good move. I'll just say that it's good.
All right, I'll dive in a little bit deeper. Okay, so yeah, Bate going to the Rams, I think here's what it means, right? So you've got almost 200 mil annually that you're giving to like your core players, right? Now, whether or not they're going to be good for that amount of time is, to be questioned, but Aaron Donald, Bobby Wagner, Jalen Ramsey, Cooper Kupp, all these guys have multi-year extensions, right? So you're kind of financially, held by these guys, right? So also draft wise, they don't have much compensation till 2024. So they've got some time on their hands to really, they've really got to, try and make it work with what they have right now. And Matthew Stafford, the elbow concerns coming into the year. I mean, we really did not see a good game from him all season long, and then he's out for the year. He's old. There's really, no timetable on how good he'll still be. And for Baker, the Rams only have to pay about, I think, 1.8 or 1.1 mil, something like that, like the rest of the 3.5 that the Panthers have to pay him. And then, they don't have to pay him anything next year. He's unrestricted. And if he were to go to another team, they can get a compensation in the form of draft capital. So I think it's good for the Rams. I think, right, you're going to get him for either 4 or 5 games. I think it's really up to McVay whether you want to play him on the 8th, because he would have 13 days till the next game, because they get the Thursday game against the Raiders, and then they get all the way to Monday to play on the 19th. I think it's the Packers, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
So they've got time if they want to ease him into the system and have him start then. But I would actually try and rush him, because you want as much tape as possible to really see what you're working with. I know the Raiders game will probably be rusty, but at least you can see, and have tape of him on the Rams as stuff going into the next game. So you'll get some time with him. I think Cooper Kupp will come back also by Christmas. That's what I'm hoping, so that you can also see what it's like to have, because Kupp will be by far the best receiver that Baker's ever had, right? Like it's not even close. So, you never know what you can do with that. Obviously the O-line is terrible. So, we can see, but all right, that's kind of my recap on the move. I think it's good just for that, just to see with what you can have and with very little risk. But I'll throw this question on to you. Do you think he stays with this team next year?
No, I think he'll leave. I think it's a good opportunity for him this year to kind of, showcase a little bit what he still may have. But do I see him as, a long-term guy for the Rams? No, I still think Stafford is going to be the guy next year, unless they want to do something there. But I think that's kind of the safe bet, that he's just kind of playing for a spot on another team, which it's fair. He's a number 1 overall pick, right?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, honestly, I think this is his absolute last shot. I mean, you can argue if he was unfairly done by the Browns.
I'd say his shot already passed.
Yeah, that's also fair too. I mean, I think this is really like he needs to show it in these 5 games if someone wants him to be a starter in the NFL next year, right? Crazy to think about, right? Like just how fast 18 months kind of go. But I'll say this about his season with Carolina, or his tenure with Carolina, because it only lasted from July 6th to actually lasted exactly 5 months. I remember July 6th was the day. So yeah, he had some some highs, and he had really bad lows, really bad lows. That was the problem, right? Because I still thought, the fourth quarter against the Browns, he had 155 yards, 2 touchdowns. Against the Bengals, right? He came in for 3 drives, had 3 touchdowns. But there were just too many bads that you were just like, what are you doing? So, remember, 9 passes batted? I think it was either SF. I think it was SF. Yeah, I mean, just
all I'll say is, and I'll leave it, but there is a reason the Browns literally shoved him to the side and were like, let's give 250 M's to Deshaun Watson. And then the Panthers shove him to the side and say, no, we're good. PJ Walker and Sam Darnold, we got it. So, I mean, do I think something is going to be revitalized? No, I just don't think it's going to happen.
Obviously, I'm hoping, but I'm going to also keep it real and say no. I do think if he does play well enough, he can create some controversy going into next year. But I think that's about it. I think that's the best case scenario for him. Because honestly, at the end of the day, he's trying to fight for some sort of multi-year extension. And I don't know. You can't just keep doing 1-year prove-it deals, right? But this is really bad.
Is an extension even in question at this point?
Yeah. See, I think his football career might, as a franchise quarterback, might be over. Pretty confident in saying that. Yeah, so that's our quick touch on Baker. Sorry to make it somber towards the end, but you guys know I'm still always going to pull for him. He gave me my first playoff win. I'll always love Baker no matter where he's at. Moving on to another quarterback that I will always defend and like. Jimmy Garoppolo sadly got injured, fractured his foot. And how the Niner faithful switch. Oh my. All of them now dearly and severely missing him. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy G has been really good this year for an SF team that and fan base that really did not treat him right. But look, the Niners defense is absurdly great. I think this is probably the most well together roster in football right now. I think they can beat anybody, contend with anybody. But now there's a question at one of the biggest spots to not want to have a question at, right? Quarterback. Brock Purdy had a decent game against Miami. They didn't really put the ball in his hands in the second half. The first half they kind of did. They would have him roll out a little bit, do a lot of stretch bootleg. That's what Shanahan does in an outside zone offense, and he's pretty mobile. Like he's not just a statue. So I thought he played decent. Had a couple good throws that I liked. Still, again, didn't see much or enough for me to really determine if he's good or not. If you were to do a POA analysis on that type of game, there were really only like 5 or 6 plays that I would have, checked off as something significant. So now I'll throw it at you. Your question was, will the 49ers win a playoff game with Brock Purdy? Yeah, why don't you detail it? Because it may not be Jimmy, being out for the year.
Yeah, well, the report that just came out was saying he could be back for the divisional or the NFC Championship if we get there. Will they win a playoff game with Brock Purdy? Well, I look at it this way. They probably finished the year as a 3 seed. So you're going to get probably the Giants or Commanders at home. And in that case, I'll say, yeah, I think the Niners win that even with Purdy. However, if you got to face a team like Philly or Dallas or even Minnesota for that matter, I'm not as confident. My confidence has waned tremendously in the wake of this injury. And as Coop said in the beginning, according to Anish, the Niner fan base has never treated any player he likes right. So, which is true to an extent. So I mean,
Patrick Willis was treated right, but yeah, no, as Patrick Willis, yes.
Yeah. But
yeah, that's so accurate. I say that, but
it's true to an extent with QB, especially because it's kind of like we're kind of impatient. Niners are very impatient. They're a great fan base, but very impatient, and they always want results. So I don't blame them, but Jimmy can win you a good amount of games. Like that was always known going into the year. I've said that too, but yeah, it sucks, and I can't help but feel like this is another year where it's like, what if this happens? What if that happens? Yeah. What if Jimmy stays? Which sucks. But the good news is you could get him back for the divisional game or the championship. So if you do win that game with Brock Purdy, as I'm predicting right now, I don't think you're in a completely bad spot here.
I'm going to one-up you. Not only do I think the Niners can win one, because sure, 3 seed, whatever, I think they will be staying at the 3. I think they can go even further. I mean, this is a team that is so damn scary. Like, I can't, like...
You're saying with
I don't
Brock.
know. Yeah, even with Brock. I mean, this team dismantled the Dolphins. Like, the Dolphins' offense was insanely good, and they only ran the ball 8 times. So maybe you can blame that on the play calling, but, like, also I think it's just because they know that the Niners' defense was going to swarm them. Like, the Niners play such a... It's so weird because it's like, to the casual NFL fan, they're not going to really know much names on that team, right? They'll maybe know Fred Warner and they'll know Nick Bosa, but that's about it for like, the casual fan, I feel like, right? But if you really look in, you just see a bunch of guys that come together as a unit, a collective unit, and they really work. I think Eric Armstead also came back for the Miami game.
Huge.
And he just fit right in. Like, I mean, D'Amico Ryans has this unit playing, just out of their minds right now. And again, everybody's kind of coming into fruition. Sure, Charvarius Ward's kind of maybe dipped a little bit since the start of the year.
Still
but
good.
Like, again, as a defense, they're great. I think they can go. I still think they can go as far as that defense takes them. And again, like I said, I haven't seen enough from Brock. Sometimes we get kind of swooped into a quarterback, who's got a little flashy name or something, or, who won you a game one time, right? Mike White last year, right? So I'll calm the brakes a little bit, but I just think this roster itself is just so good. I mean, like if you're going to throw a quarterback into the fire and you need a roster around him that'll help him, this is the one to have.
He's practicing against his defense too.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is going to be great. I think okay, fine, not great, but it's not going to be bad. I don't think this is going to be a failure. So I think the Niners are fine. I think they're in the tier with Dallas and Philly and Minnesota. I still think should be in that tier. I think that those are the four right now. With or without Jimmy, the Niners are fine, and that's coming from a Jimmy Garoppolo like defender, guys. So take that a little bit more with what you will. All right, we're good on that one. Want to move on?
Yeah, I think your
Mhm.
take on the defense is fair. I guess just my one concern is, and I'll rehash my Super Bowl bubble right now as well. It's just if the offense is not where it was when Jimmy was, because Jimmy was playing his best ball since I'd argue 2017. So if the offense is not there, the defense has to be absolutely perfect. And we've seen that this defense, as good as it is, we've seen the Chiefs game, right? There are times when this defense can sometimes let up. So that's my one concern there. But my Super Bowl bubble now, which might surprise some people because you may think I'm a biased Niner fan, but I'm really not. I have only 5 teams in my Super Bowl bubble, and 2 of them are in the NFC, and those 2 are Philly and Dallas. No one else in the
Just
NFC.
you took them out. Okay,
I
that's
took the
fair. I
Niners out.
mean, without
The other 3 I'll get
um,
into in a bit because we'll talk about the AFC.
yeah. So I think SF as a whole, like you're right. There are some offenses that I feel like they don't match up well with on the defensive side of the ball, and I think that's going to bode really bad. Also, the offense can be really inconsistent, even with Jimmy. Like there are just games where it's like against Atlanta, right? Stalled. Like there are just times where you're like, this is an inferior team. Why, right? But they always kind of turn it on when they need to. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, yeah.
But I think it's fair to take them out of that bubble. I'm still going to actually keep them in it.
Mhm.
Moving on, 2 teams that may or may not be in yours, the Bengals and the Chiefs. We talked about it earlier on the like in the intro. Joe Burrow's 3-0 against Patrick Mahomes. I feel like that's what everyone's going to talk about. But we're the Cold Hard Truth podcast. We'll give you better analysis than that. Let's dive into this. Srikar wrote down the Bengals own the Chiefs. So why don't you expand on that and then maybe answer the question: who's the best team in the AFC?
Well, I think you're right. Some people will look at it on the surface and be like, "Oh, Burrow just beat Mahomes again." But if we really think about it, the game was decided on just like a few plays. And the first I wanted to mention was Travis Kelce fumbling near midfield. Kansas City had a 24-20 lead. It was in the fourth quarter. The second play I wanted to highlight, the Chiefs were called for a legal man downfield on their second drive. So you had a 34-yard completion to Justin Watson on 3rd and 15. That got wiped. And then the third play I wanted to highlight, and this one was obvious, Burrow closing the game on 3rd and 11 out of the 2-minute warning. Perfect throw to T. Higgins, and they were able to convert there. So yeah, Burrow did, outduel Mahomes again, mainly because, the pass rush for Kansas City just didn't do anything. Like Burrow, and I think it's also a testament to Cincinnati's O-line, but each of Cincinnati's 3 victories have come by 3 points, which is kind of crazy. But I kind of get the feeling that the Bengals have started creeping into like Kansas City's psyche per se. Like they're kind of in their head now. I don't know if you saw before the game, but Justin Reed, he was talking a lot of
Yes.
smack. Like he had a lot to say about Cincinnati, and the defense allowed 400 plus yards and 27 points. It was only 1 punt all game for the Bengals. I mean, it was just a horrible showing for the defense. And I kind of thought they'd be motivated after last year's AFC title game. But yeah, I guess the Bengals are just big brothers to Kansas City right now. There's no beating around it there.
All right. So you talked about a couple plays. I'm going to talk about the biggest play that I think you forgot to mention. Joseph Osai's biggest sack. Its first career sack was against Mahomes, which caused Butker's field goal to go wide right. I think it was a 55-yard field goal. I don't remember the
Yeah.
attempt, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it caused it to go wide right. So I thought that was actually the biggest play of the game, which again, people are not going to talk about because they're just going to talk about Joe Burrow owning Patrick Mahomes, even though they're on the same side of the ball. Both played
He did
well.
outduel Mahomes though.
Yeah, I mean, both played well. I don't think, one played particularly better than the other. Samaje Perine has had quite few good games over the stretch. I think 330 yards in the 4 games that Mixon has missed over the course of the year. So that's been really good.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the Bengals. So I'll kind of unpack the game a little bit more. I just think, getting Jamar Chase back really helps. I think him as a true X, it just shows how great of a receiver he is. I still think he's got all world talent and potential to be top three. T. Higgins did his thing. Tyler Boyd, I know he was killing himself for that drop that he had wide open in the end zone, but he'll get back. Don't worry. So now to answer who's the best team in the AFC, I still think it's so funny how these matchups and streaks work in the NFL. Like the Chiefs are still a better team, people. But it's just whenever they match up, right? Like they just can't seem to pull it together. I'm telling you, like it's these intangible things that we just bring up, right? I feel like people realize it. Like these quarterbacks and everyone's hearing, what you guys are saying, right? The players are hearing what we're saying out there. So I don't know. It's just a weird nuance that I love the NFL for. I think it's always, kind of intertwined with a team owning another team, right? But the best team in the AFC, I'm still not giving it to Buffalo. I've said this numerous times. I still am going to go Kansas City. I think they've got, I'm going to say it, three things. Best quarterback in the NFL, the best QB head coach combo in the NFL. They've got a top 3 offensive line, and they've got probably one of the best offensive weapons in the last 20 years in Travis Kelce. And yeah, I said offensive weapons. So yeah, that's my answer.
For me, it's kind of like a 1A, 1B, 1C type of situation. It's between the Chiefs, Bengals, and Bills. I feel like the Bills have the most complete roster of the three, but I think the Chiefs have the highest ceiling still. So just for that, okay, I'm gonna say the Chiefs, because if you asked me, all three are playing their best right now, who are you taking? I'd take Kansas City. And they always turn it up in January. We know this. But those three teams actually round out my Super Bowl bubble. So Bengals, Chiefs, Bills,
Sure.
Philly, Dallas. I don't think I'm putting anyone else in there, but it's tough. It's tough for me to pick between those three.
I'm with you. I mean, now with Lamar being out, I think the Ravens one might have to be taken out. But yeah, even when he was playing, the first quarter, but yeah, I'm with you now. I'll take the Ravens out. That doesn't necessarily mean I'll move the Bills in. I mean, I guess I have to because they're a third team, but not really. I think, yeah, you're right. I think the Bengals probably are the second best team in the AFC. I'm still not ruling out Miami. They had one bad game. I mean, they were
Dolphins
undefeated with Tua as a starter. Okay.
It kind of worries me that every single good defense Tua's faced. I mean, Tua's been good though. I'll give him his credit.
He's 8-1 as a starter.
But when he faces a really good defense like he will in January, we see what
he's
happens.
Played one. He's not gonna. No defense in the AFC is as good as the Niners. Not even close.
There's good defense.
I'm not getting Buffalo. Buffalo's got safeties that are injured, and their pass rush has been inconsistent.
Hoyer's back
now with Von Miller being out. The what?
Hoyer's back.
Nah, I still don't care. I would take the Niners defense in a heartbeat. Dallas's defense.
I'm not saying anyone's better than the Niners, but they still got good defenses. Because comparing AFC defenses to the best team or best defense in the league, that's
what I'm saying. Like Tua's only bad game this entire season was against SF. They had won 8. He was 8-0 as a starter, right? And he finally cracked. One bad game is not going to make me say, "Oh my God, the Dolphins aren't good." They ran the ball 8 times. I know there is no way, if Mike McDaniel is the coach that I think he is, there is no way you're going to be running the football only 8 times again. When you have Jeff Wilson, one carry after the 2 games he put up for you. 1 carry. That's stupid. That's stupid, right? There's no way that's going to happen again. And if that does, I will admit everything I've said about Mike McDaniel up until this point was absolute crap, and I was so wrong. But there is no way that's going to happen again. But yeah, so I'm going to keep Miami in there. One bad game is not going to do it for me. Yes, the defense is a little inconsistent on the Miami side of the ball, but I'm still going to keep them there because offensively at their best, I think they are the best offensive in football when they are at their best. Yeah. So okay. I'll take Cincy, Miami, and KC with Buffalo on the fence still. I still haven't seen it.
I think the Bills are better. Well, they play the Bills in 2 weeks, so we'll know then. But
yeah, so we'll get a better picture of that. It's gonna be in Buffalo though, so So I'll give you this though. I do think the January factor is going to play in part, just because it's going to be colder, right? Like Miami is not used to that. They're playing in 80-degree weather every day down there. So I'll give you that. I think that's something that maybe they're not prepared for. And think about their stars, right? Like, okay, Tyreek, fine, he's been in Kansas City, but Tua, an Alabama guy, Waddle, Alabama guy, right? Like these are all these guys that are from the South, right? Teron Armstead played in a dome with the Saints. Like their key guys are guys that really aren't used to this. So
Hmm.
let's see how it goes.
Yep.
Let's move on. All right, unless you got anything on that. We're good. All right.
Yep.
Moving on, Eagles. We'll kind of focus on the NFC East again. I feel like we keep talking about them, but they're relevant this year, so we're going to do it. The Eagles blew out the Titans. The Cowboys literally murdered the Colts in the fourth quarter. That should have been a crime for what we had to witness in the span of 15 minutes. And, yeah, so I guess after the Eagles beat the Titans, Jon Robinson was fired, GM of the Titans. And then the Giants and Commanders tied. Very unfortunately to me, I was sad. But yeah, why don't you? So we've got like maybe three things here to brush up on. Why don't you start with whichever one you want to go into and quickly brief us
Yeah,
up.
I'll start with the Eagles game. Jalen Hurts, 380 passing yards. AJ Brown, I was 30 yards away from having the perfect stat prediction from last week in picks. I believe I said 150 and 2 touchdowns. He got 119 and 2 scores to AJ Brown. So that was good. Devonta Smith, he chipped in 5 catches, 102 yards and a touchdown. For the Eagles, these past 2 weeks kind of tell me why they're just tough to stop. They're not winning in one way. They don't need a bunch of takeaways. They don't need, a similar game script to get wins because the Eagles they can run on you, they can throw on you, they can dominate defensively. They have so many different ways of just handling business. And Philly doesn't even have the established, superstars that some of the other top contenders have, but the Eagles have the deepest roster in football. And again, as I said, the most ways to walk off the field with a dub. The Cowboys, we talk about the Cowboys a lot. like we talk about them a lot,
Yeah.
but not much else can really be said about them. Again, they're in that Super Bowl bubble. They're neck and neck with the Eagles, in my opinion, but still take the Eagles over him. Jon Robinson, that firing kind of shocked me a little bit because it was just really weird timing. The Titans are about to win the AFC South, and you fire your GM in the middle of the year. So I don't know. Maybe there's more that we just don't know yet, but it was kind of bizarre to me. But he's out. And then Giants Commanders. The Giants had the ball with I think a minute and 45 left in regulation. They only needed a field goal to win. I put this in the chat. Daniel Jones had not thrown an incompletion. He had one spike, and yet the Commanders forced 3 straight on that drive. And in overtime, Giants won the toss. They had to punt. They did nothing. And on the last drive of the game, New York had the ball at their own 43, but they couldn't get close enough for Graham Gano to hit it. And ultimately, it just means the Giants still have a half game on Washington, but the Giants get the Eagles this week. Commanders are going to be on the bye, and then the Giants go to FedEx Field next week for the rematch. So the tie in this matchup means Washington basically gets to determine that tiebreaker at home. So if the Giants are going to make the playoffs, they almost certainly need to beat the Commanders in their building and maybe have to beat either the Eagles or Vikings on the road to get in, which is very, very tough. So lots of implications there.
So I asked you to talk about one of the games, not give me your spill on all 4 of them and as fast as you possibly could. But okay, let's let's dive into what you said about each. Okay, first of all, the Eagles blow out the Titans. Yeah, I thought it would be close. I was so off. The Eagles dominated. Jalen Hurts had one hell of a game. You were pretty close on the stat line. That was pretty cool. I will actually say this though about Jon Robinson being fired. After kind of hearing now how personnel works for an NFL team, this is actually the best time to do it. Now I know most teams don't do it because it just takes a lot of effort, but this actually would be the best time because now when you bring a GM in, right, you usually have to there's already work that's been done and the GM has to either dismantle that, all the scouting and the draft work that's been done when they get hired in January or February, right? And then they have to re-scrap it and do their own kind of thing. Now it's more of an open slate. So it's actually kind of a better time to do it. But you're right. I don't think Jon Robinson should have been fired. I think he's made some really good moves. I think the Tannehill signing was great, and it really lifted this franchise up. Okay, I know they've been quote unquote mediocre or good, 9-7 a lot, but he at least took them to an AFC championship and multiple 11-win seasons. So, I think that was a great move. He's the one who drafted Derrick Henry, so got to give him some credit on where credit is due there. Hired Mike Vrabel, right? So I don't really know why he was fired. I think the Titans are always a team that you just can't underestimate. But oh well. And the Eagles, blow out the Titans. The Cowboys, man, my God, you know what? The fourth quarter was great, but it was 21-19 going into the fourth, and it was. You know what? I'm going to say this, though. The most impressive thing about that game was 3 penalties. I mean, we talk about Mike McCarthy and that team all the damn time. But 3 penalties, that's how you know it's been good. I'm going to also talk about this. Most fans who don't follow the Cowboys won't know about this. Kelvin Joseph is awful, okay? He's the cornerback who coincides with Trayvon Diggs on the outside. He is awful. And then Anthony Brown, who's been playing good in the slot, got injured. Cowboys fans were worried about it. And then Deron Bland says, you know what? I'm going to have 2 turnovers in this game in a quarter and show you guys why I'm good. So that was really cool to see. And that's kind of my take on the Cowboys. I think you're right. Super Bowl bubble. All right, now we can move on to the Giants and the Commanders. Look, Daniel Jones was 16 of 16. And Shriek, who's his best receiver? There we go. Yeah, okay. I think it's Darius Slayton. But really? That's what this man has to work with, right? And this guy goes 16 for 16 on a defense who's been playing out of their minds, right?
And what'd he do at the end?
This guy is doing the best he can. What the hell, dude? Okay, look, if Odell's going to go anywhere, please go back to New York. If you really are good, and you know my thoughts on Odell, if you're really that guy, go help out Daniel Jones, because really, this guy needs help. And it's not even that he's doing bad. He's doing good, but he could be so much better if he just had some damn help. That play by Jahan Dotson was really cool. And yeah, that was just a weird time, man. I really thought Gano was going to hit that field goal. At least he did enough to get him in that position. I really thought he was going to hit that field goal, man. I was really mad when he missed it.
It was long.
58. He's hit one from 63.
58 is long.
I was like, dude, you can hit that, though. It's Graham Gano. He can hit that. I'm just so frustrated because, I would have gotten a game on you, and, it's okay. It's whatever. That's honestly my biggest takeaway. But, yeah, playoff implications-wise, Seattle now technically can't get their tiebreaker now over the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Giants will always be a half game or a half game back, right? So if they have the same record, it won't happen unless Seattle somehow ties. So take that with what you will, Seahawks fans. I think they're still in right now because the Commanders are 7-5-1.
Yeah.
But remember this change. I'll ask you this one more time now to kind of round out everything. Do you think all 4 NFC East teams make it?
No.
Okay.
And if I had to make my pick right now, the Giants are the odd team out.
Okay. Yeah. I think before we were saying Commanders, right? Because the Giants had built such a substantial lead. They were at 7-2 and we had talked about the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now it's looking a little scary. Hey, looks like the Commanders playoff take's gonna pay well. It may not have been the right quarterback,
of course,
but I'm just gonna take some credit there.
Phony takes.
All I said was they were 6-6 last year with a COVID ravaged roster. That was my big point. But yeah, you know what? Whatever. It's so funny. I find it so funny that it's actually working. I remember oh my God, we should pull up the comments from that video. I got so much hate for having the Commanders in the playoffs. They were like, "What are you talking about?" Yeah, sucks to suck. Casuals. All right. Anything else? Anything big? Do you still think the Eagles are a level above Dallas, though, right?
I still got the Eagles above Dallas. It's not like they're unreachable, but it's clear that Philly and Dallas are top 2 at this point.
I think the best point you made though was that the Eagles are one of the only teams, if not the only teams, that can beat you in so many different
Yeah.
ways.
Hmm.
Like, I feel like the Chiefs have an identity, right? They rely on Mahomes. The Bills rely on Josh, right? Like Cincinnati, usually Joe Burrow has to play well, but like and the Eagles, yeah, I mean Jalen's playing well, but even when he doesn't, right? The run game, because the fact is Jalen Hurts playing well doesn't have to always equate to like passing, right? So I think that's where Philadelphia is so dangerous. And yeah, defense played great. They locked down Derrick Henry, and I've said this a million times now. I actually heard this from a fantasy football TikToker. Derrick Henry, over 50% of his 2,000 rushing yards were against divisional opponents. Isn't that crazy? Like
Yeah.
outside of the division, he's not as good as you may think.
Hmm.
It's just those division games that inflate his stats so much. I've said this a million times. You put swingers on the outside. The Bengals have done it each of the last two times they play him with Mike Hilton. He's not that hard to stop. And I know I'm saying this as a 5'10" kid, and he's like 6'3", 250. But like I'm just being real. Like schematically, you can stop this guy. That's why I have Nick Chubb over a guy like him. But yeah, I think the Titans are getting a little complacent with that. You got to switch it up a little bit.
Hmm.
All right, moving on. I'm really excited about this thing because we had some crazy shakeups and we're gonna bring it up. So maybe like 3 weeks into the year, we both got a text from Jamiki Smith about picks and our standings, and he said, why would I trust you guys for advice? I'm leading you guys by 5 and 7 games respectively in picks with a yawning or emoji. Or no, the one with the teeth, like this one. Yeah.
Ooh.
Why don't you give an update on that? Why don't you update us? Why don't you update the
We have
folks?
quite the update this week. Let's start off with Jamicki. He has fallen into a tie for second place. Me and him are at 123 wins. He went 10-4. Obviously, I mentioned in the beginning I went 14-0. Anish, you went 12-2, so now you are the sole owner of first place. And meanwhile, the fans, who also
The
went 12
believers, whoever stuck with me, we made it from last to first. We got to keep it though. I think we're up 1 game, right?
You're up 1 game on me and Jack and 2 games up on the fans.
Yeah.
Fans are at
So
122
now
wins.
we're even closer than what we were before. Oh my god!
I just hate that I had a
This-
perfect week and I'm still not ahead.
Hey, for all our loyal viewers, like please stick through the end. Like this is the closest I think we've ever had it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, because it took me, I had to go 5 for 5 last year in order to beat Jamaica.
Just to be fair.
But we're 1 game apart. Like we're all 1 game apart.
Yeah.
But yeah, all my loyal fans who stuck with me, we got there, we got back to the top. Now, I'm gonna do you guys proud and keep us there. Yeah, that's kind of my little soliloquy. Let's do it. Let's go into it.
I'll give a even shorter soliloquy and say, hey, if you support me, nice. We're gonna win again. All right, let's keep it like that. But let's start off Thursday Night Football. The Las Vegas Raiders, who have won 3 in a row, going into LA and facing the Rams. I'll start here. This past weekend, the Raiders won in a bit more straightforward manner against the Chargers. We finally saw a dominant performance from Chandler Jones. That's something that I'm excited about as a guy that's going to Syracuse. Can they extend the streak to 4 games? I mean, this is as good of a chance as any to beat the Rams. The Rams don't have Stafford. They don't have Cooper Kupp. They don't have Robinson. I'm not sure how you expect anything but a Raiders win here unless Baker or Wolford just plays out of his mind. So give me the Raiders here.
I think their season turned around in that win against Seattle. I think they feel as confident as anybody in the league right now. They really think they can beat anybody. And that's a dangerous feeling. So I'm with you. I think the Raiders win. Obviously, if Baker plays, I'm going to be rooting for him. And McVay, man, I can't believe that's a combo still. But yeah, give me the Raiders here. Watch out, teams who are playing them. Watch out.
All right, a divisional game and a good one at that. The Jets and the Bills. I'm going to let you start here.
Yeah, so again, I kind of reiterated, right? In order for the Jets to make the playoffs, they had to win 2 of the 4 games. They got swept by New England, I'm pretty sure. So, they've won 1 against Buffalo. Can they win the second one? No, I'm gonna go Buffalo here. Kudos to the Jets though. They fought hard against the Vikings. Like the Jets have been in every game they've played,
Hmm.
right? So like really, they have not gotten destroyed by a team. Even in the Cincinnati one where it was like 24-9, I think like it wasn't like a destruction. So I'm not gonna rule it out, but I think Buffalo's got this game kind of circled. They need it right now that they're the one seed, right? And the fact that they can get a team like Kansas City at home, oh, they're gunning to keep that, right? So now they control their own destiny, and that's what they want. So yeah, give me Buffalo here.
I think there's a good chance with the way this season has gone that we will see the unexpected in Buffalo, but I'm going to ride the wave the Bills are on with their 3 straight wins and say they come out on top in this one. I think Buffalo's just too good for the Jets right now. Unless New York gets an amazing road performance from Mike White. But you're right, the Jets did have the Vikings within an inch of their lives this past week, and they've put up nearly 500 yards of total offense the last couple of games with White at the helm. So I don't think it's out of the question that the Jets defense, could step up in a big way and the offense can win a shootout, but I think either way, I'm going to take the Bills. All right, moving on here. Browns and Bengals. Anish just got mad at me that we didn't talk about Deshaun Watson and his horrible performance, but
Yeah, I wanted to break it down.
okay, I'll let you go
Could
first
have
here then.
broken it down. We had a great win. Like we finally won with something other than offense. Like it's actually funny. All right, you know what? Fine, I'll use this time to give my spill on what happened. Okay, so I'm really excited, right? Look again. I'm gonna say this every time we talk about him. We're talking about the player, not the person. Okay. I was very excited to watch the player play for us on Sunday, and I knew he was gonna be rusty because he hadn't played in 700 days. And yeah, he looked pretty rusty. If you really watch the game back, he had 2 throws that I thought were impressive. He had it was like a in breaking route to Cooper about 15 yards downfield, and then a stretch bootleg to Donovan Peoples-Jones, which was wide open, by the way. And the pick to Petrie, actually, the analysis did a pretty good job explaining it. Safety sat back on in the zone and didn't follow Peoples-Jones. And see, I think that's an example of a quarterback knowing though. You'll know. Look at signs of a safety's legs, and I feel like if Watson had played, he would have recognized that there was a break in between Peoples-Jones and Petrie, and he would probably have thrown to Peoples-Jones there over Amari for a touchdown. So it's going to take time to build this stuff. But how about that defense? I mean, look, I get it. It's Kyle Allen and the Texans, but they look pretty good. That was, dude, 27 points were scored and 0 by the offense. That's absurd, bro. That's like literally absurd. Yeah. Okay. I guess that's my spill. Yeah. Deshaun, not an impressive performance, but at least, the ground game kind of was operational. At least he showed some flashes also running the ball, right? Some RPOs and read options for whoever watched the game with me. But yeah, again, not talking about the person, the player. I think, there's some rust there, but also some flashes. All right, now you can go ahead.
Yeah, I'm definitely some rust with Watson, but hey, if you had the Browns defense in fantasy, I mean, you're living good right now. I think they put up
Dude, I
what,
didn't start him
30?
because I didn't want to jinx him.
No
I
way.
benched him. No, I'm not even playing. I benched him because I didn't want to jinx him.
All right, I'll give my pick here. When you consider where these two teams are at as of this past weekend, I think the Bengals are a pretty easy pick on paper. Cincinnati's playing at home. They're playing dominant offensively. Their defense is, again, much better than anyone is really giving them credit for. This is one of the more underrated defenses in football. Now you're sitting at 8-4. You're fighting with the Ravens for position atop the AFC North. Every game is crucial for Cincinnati. They know it. Here's my thing. They can't let this week be the week that Deshaun Watson has his comeback game, if that's on the horizon at all. I think
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati is a truly good team, which means I think they're going to take care of business at home. Even as good as the
Mm-hmm.
Browns have been in spurts this season, especially running the ball and especially how good they've been against this team in general, it feels like Rams Niners every time I have to pick this game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Give me Cincinnati, man.
Okay. Okay. We don't have Taki Taki. He's not even there. We've got injuries literally across the DB room. We've got what do you call it? We've got guys. We're literally on a setter who hasn't played center before in his life. And guess what? We've got a quarterback who hasn't played in 700 days, and I'm still taking the Browns. I'm still taking them. I'm still taking them. I am taking the Browns to win this game. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I might switch, but I'm
Yeah.
fearing that this is
No,
the
you're
one
not.
time
I'm
it's going to
taking
be
the Browns.
wrong.
I'm taking
Okay.
the Browns. I'm taking the
First
Browns.
difference in a crucial week.
There's something about it. All right. Let's do
All
it.
right. Texans, Cowboys in Dallas. I'll go ahead. Just pick them.
Oh, yeah. It's me first. Okay.
Yeah.
This one's kind of tough. I mean, you've got a team in Houston who really looked good on the final drive in garbage time versus Cleveland, but
Right.
that's literally all they've put in. So, yeah, give me Dallas.
Yep. Ton of draft picks for the next couple of years. The Texans are in evaluation mode or in tank mode, I should say. They would never admit that, but the Cowboys are going to win this game by a lot, easily. However you want to put it. I mean, this is a gimme. So, gimme Dallas in a blowout. All right. Vikings, Lions. Interestingly enough,
Ooh.
the spread is Lions -1. It's in Detroit.
Vegas knows something here.
Justin Jefferson has been the best receiver in the game this year, in my opinion. The Lions have a dynamic offense, which just got their prized first-round pick, Jameson Williams, into the fold this past week. They were going to utilize him as a gunner, but the Lions didn't punt, so useless. I actually kind of like the idea of the Lions by 1 in this game. They have a couple of wins in a row. They gave the Bills all they could handle on Thanksgiving. They are consistently one of the best offenses in the league this season. Even if they get into a shootout with the Vikings, I mean, this is a matchup that Detroit can win. Give me the Lions, man. Give me the Lions.
No! Why? Why did you do that? Oh my God. No. I was so going to pick them. Now you're making me think. Oh, dude, if you had picked Minnesota, I was so picking Detroit. Okay. Yeah, first of all, let's clap it up for Jamicky for picking the Jaguars in like a 14-40 blowout. Yeah, dude, Detroit's looked really good these last few weeks. And you know what's even funnier, right? Minnesota can clinch the playoffs with a win here. Or clinch the division with a win here. I feel like you don't think Detroit knows that? Because they're not technically out. Wow. I mean, and Minnesota's been living on the edge so much, right? You feel like, when is it going to snap? When is it going to crack, right? Like, they've just been teetering. Man, why did you do that? Okay. All right, I got a deep dive here. Like, Goff's been really good. Cal alum, by the way, but he's been really good this season. Wow, okay. They did it last year too in Detroit. This one's hard. Okay, this is so tentative, and give me Detroit too, but this is so tentative. Like, I keep talking myself into it when I don't want to. But yeah, give me Detroit. Oh,
You know what?
God.
And for the record, I think Vegas actually got this point spread right. People were actually like genuinely mad about it.
Well, no, the
I
thing
think they
is, right,
nailed it.
home team gets -3. So technically they're favoring Minnesota, right? By giving
Yeah,
them
but
2 points. So technically it is actually favoring Minnesota by a little bit. But
I mean, it's a fair line. Like, all right, here we go. Jaguars Titans. I'm gonna let you start on this one. Could be something interesting.
Yeah, this is going to be what you call a Derrick Henry and a Tennessee Titans bounce back game. They feast on their division. Trevor Lawrence got injured. His leg almost snapped. I got so scared. The T-Law fan in me almost wanted to cry. But yeah, that team, I don't know why are we shying away from ETN? Let's give him the ball, right? Yeah, give me Tennessee here to bounce back. You're not going to get a Mike Vrabel team to lose by 25 and then lose again.
Yeah, Jacksonville is kind of just cooked at this point. I have a weird feeling they're gonna win this game. I don't know why. Yeah, knowing that we can change picks, I will pick them. I will pick them.
What?
I don't see why not. I can literally just change it the next day. Like, this is pure
Okay,
gut.
no, give us. Hey, we're the cold hard truth. Give us your take right now. Who do you think right now is going to win? Because yes, we do. Yeah, quick caveat, guys. We do usually change some picks here and
we
there.
do.
But like every time I pick a game, it's who I genuinely think at that moment is going to win, and then yes, fine, maybe I can get
Yeah, I
persuaded
gotta go
later.
Titans then. Yeah, I don't know why I feel like the Jags can win this game knowing the Titans' dominance over them, but man, I don't know. It's in Tennessee too. Yeah, I gotta take the Titans. But let's move on here. The Eagles and the Giants, big divisional game. We just talked about the NFC East. Even though the Giants are playing at home in this one, the Eagles seem like a huge mismatch to me. We talked about it before,
They're
but
just so injured, dude.
the
They're
Eagles
so
can just,
injured.
they're going to toy with that defense. They can win so many ways. Is the Giants' defensive front up to the task here? If the Eagles start scoring a lot of points, can the Giants keep up in a shootout? As great of a story as they've been this season, there's no way I'm taking them over the Eagles right now with the way the Eagles have been playing. That's not to say the Giants have no shot, but it's just got everything to do with how complete of a team the Eagles have been and how they're just getting better as the season goes along. So I got to go with the Eagles here in this divisional matchup.
I feel so bad. Like the Giants are so good and they're so injured. Like it's not even funny, dude. Like I okay. Here's what I will say about this game. So last year the Giants held this team to 7 points. I think they won like 13-7 or something. Um, and what I will say is they play tough, but how can I pick an injured team like this? I just can't. Like they're so mismatched in different ways. I'm with you. I gotta go Philly here.
All right. Ravens at Steelers with no Lamar. Who are you going to take?
Give me Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh with TJ Watt has looked a lot better. They've also won 3 in a row, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, I think 3 in a row, or like 3 of their last 4 or something. Yeah, they've looked pretty good with TJ Watt coming back. Give me Pittsburgh here. And Pickett's looked better every single week. He has.
I'm going to
Right,
play it.
Srikar? Wait. Hasn't he?
Eh,
Yes.
meh,
Yes, he has.
meh.
Yes, he has. I still see that potential in him. All right, keep going.
I don't. I'm going to play it safe. And I'm just going to say the Ravens don't have the guys offensively right now to beat that defense in Pittsburgh on the road. So, I mean, at least not without Jackson in the lineup. So, for now, I'm going to ride this wave with Pittsburgh. Let's move on here.
Yo, do
To
you
a
think
game.
they hit? Do they keep the 500 streak going? You know they'll have to win every game except one for it to keep going.
I don't think so, man.
Dude, this is
It
insane,
sucks.
bro.
It
They were
sucks.
2-7, or they were like 3-7. Like,
I don't know how
what
they're
the
doing
hell?
this. This is Mike
What is
Tomlin. I
going
mean,
on, bro?
it's kind of crazy.
No, I like it's so stupid. Like it's not even Mike Tomlin. Like it's like, I don't know. All right, let's keep going.
All right.
Like
Buccaneers.
we're awarding a dude for. Sorry, one thing. We're awarding a dude for not sucking. Like what the hell? Like what type of standard is that? Like what?
Well, yeah, because look at his team. I mean, it's just. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but like I would want to rebuild and get good, not freaking be like 8-8 every year. Like, all right, whatever.
It's the Steeler
Let's
way,
move
man.
on.
I don't know what to tell you. This is just
70
what Tomlin
Steelers fans
does.
hate.
And you
All
already
right,
know
let's keep going.
Steelers fans are going to blow it up as if it's like the greatest thing
Yeah,
ever
I
that
know,
they go
I
a game
know.
and
Oh
blow it
yeah,
up.
you don't think I'm aware of the Steelers fans? Stupid.
All right, let's move on
keep
here.
going.
Buccaneers, Niners. Did you start on the last one? Yeah, I think you did. I'll start here.
I did. Is the streak gonna come to an end? No way. Not on this one.
As I said before, no matter what happens from this point forward, the Niners might end up as one of those what if teams. If only Jimmy stayed healthy. If only this. If only that. Todd
You gonna do
Bowles
it?
against the Purdy-led Niners. For right now, give me the Bucks. The streak is
No
over.
way. Wow. This is, ladies and gentlemen, the first time we are in week 14, and this is the first
I
time you have
know.
not heard
I
Srikar
know. I'm
again.
gonna change this though. I know I will.
You're taking the
But
Bucks?
I'm taking the Bucks for right now.
I'm taking the 49ers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking Mr. Purdy. Can we just first, I know we're gonna go on, but can we just acknowledge how great Tom Brady is. I mean, the GOAT
Okay,
is just gonna
first off,
do
this
GOAT things.
okay,
I
I'll
mean,
yeah,
it's like
yes.
every time the world is crumbling down 13 with 2 minutes left, and this guy comes back. I mean, come on, or 3 minutes left, and this guy comes back. I mean, it's so funny. The three most important or impressive drives I've seen the Bucks do have all been with like the final drive of the game. And okay, hold on, who called every play on that drive? Thomas Edward
You
Patrick
know what?
Brady
I'm
did. It
switching
just
my
goes
pick.
to
I'm
show
switching my pick.
how IQ matters in at the quarterback position, and people always downplay it. People always just suck up to Mahomes' talent. No,
I'm switching my
IQ
pick.
matters.
I'm switching my pick. I'm going back to SF. The streak is alive. The streak is.
What? Would you have done that if I took Tampa?
No, I think I still would have done it. But here's the thing. Yes, it was a good comeback win, but
I think he's getting mad at me for hyping Tom Brady
the
too much.
Saints.
So he's like,
The
you know
Saints
what?
handed. No, it wasn't even. It was just a quick change of heart. But the Saints handed that game to Tampa. I don't know what Mark Ingram was doing there, but the Bucks and the Saints both stink. So that's kind of why I'm changing back to SF, because the Bucks are still not a good team in my opinion. All right, let's move on here. Panthers Seahawks. I think you're starting here, but it's going to be Sam Darnold.
Okay, yeah, Seattle had a good win for their morals, especially beating a rival that usually has owned them, right? The Rams have beaten the Seahawks a lot, even when they were good. So I think it felt good for them. They get Carolina at home. The 12th man's going to be rocking, and they need this one to stay alive in the race. So, yeah, give me Seattle. Even off the bye, give me Seattle.
Let's see, can Sam Darnold outduel Geno Smith? I mean, it's a very weird game, and it's one that I think Carolina could win. I'm actually going to go with the Panthers. I'm going to roll with the Panthers here. Another one that could switch, but honestly, Seattle's defense, it's vulnerable. So I think Carolina can win this. They've somehow been a lot better since they fired Matt Rule, but you're going with Seattle, right?
Yep.
Okay. Let's move on here. Easy game. Chiefs and the Broncos. What is an easy game?
Okay.
What is an easy
context.
game?
Okay. No, context. Okay. So I was ready to come on here and say, oh my God, the one time Srikar doesn't pick Denver, they win. It was so close to happening. It was literally like a yard away from happening.
And it didn't.
Stupid McManus. Dude, that's so funny. It would have been so funny.
Yeah, this is going to be a get-right game for the Chiefs. Give me Kansas City.
The amount of games that Srikar has lost on Denver is so funny. Okay.
I would be up by a good margin if it wasn't for the Broncos.
All right.
Like, it's crazy.
Let's I'm going to side with you here. Mahomes is undefeated against Denver. He's undefeated against divisional opponents, inferior opponents, by the way. And he's also undefeated on the road versus inferior opponents. Give me KC to bounce back.
All right. Dolphins Chargers on Sunday Night Football. Tua versus Herbert. Who you got? In LA, but it's probably going to be Miami home game.
There's going to be some narratives, right? I actually, is this the first time that they have?
This is the first time.
I think so. Yeah, we've never seen Tua versus Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, give me the Dolphins bounce back.
Yeah, this matchup is going to be somewhat personal for the Dolphins. They have been so criticized in recent years for passing on Herbert to pick Tua instead. And this year, it obviously looks like their investment and their belief in Tua is paying off. Tua has played like an MVP. The Dolphins' defense has been really good since Bradley Chubb got there. Weapons are obviously good. I'm not going to count out the Chargers, but yeah, I also think the Dolphins are going to bounce back here. Yeah, I think the Chargers will keep it close. Monday Night Football. What a game here. The Patriots and the Cardinals. Yay. This is going to be an awesome game for Troy Aikman and Joe Buck. Guess I'm starting here. Even off a bye. Nah, I was about to take Arizona. I'm like, no. Give me the Pats.
No.
Belichick wins these. Give me the Pats.
Dude, I can totally see an offensive explosion from the Cardinals.
No, it's never coming.
Give me the Pats. Like, yeah, give me the
An
Pats.
offensive explosion against this defense would be hilarious.
Yeah, give me the Pats in this one. The Cardinals are just like they're like cooked in like so many mental ways.
We
Yeah.
didn't
All right, so that rounds it out.
we
We
didn't
only
differ
differ on
much.
two.
Yeah.
Cleveland, Cincy, and Seattle and Carolina. I might switch
Both of
that
those could
Detroit
be
one, but
switched.
I'm probably gonna stay on the Detroit one. But yeah, similar though. Damn.
Hmm.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We've been the Cold Hard Truth NFL podcast, and we will see you guys next time.